So what's up, fool? Podcast with Felipe Esparza and Rodrigo Torres.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. He's right here wearing his black T-shirt, man, wearing his cheekbones, wearing his hair lotion. Was it Tres Flores? Nah, man. He's better than Tres Flores now. He's better than Briantina. He's better than Jockey Club. What are you wearing now in your hair?
I've been wearing for days.
Stop. We don't sponsor them. We don't sponsor them. We can't even mention them. Nah, but where do you get it? You get it where a lot of beardos get it?
Yeah, all that stuff. When this stuff started coming out like 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
It's weird. Before, I've always had my long hair, but all of a sudden, man, everybody who's fat decided, I'm not going to work out. I'm going to just grow a beard and cover up all the fat on my face.
That's how you cover up double chins, dog.
Remember, like, Big Pun?
Always,
The
dog.
rappers, they used to have that little line, and they used to redefine where their new face starts.
The little chin strap beard?
Jawline, yes. Jawline, man.
Yeah,
or like, start wearing black T-shirt with bright colors.
Look a little thinner, dog.
How was your weekend?
It was good, dude. Chilling. Did some spots, dude. Creeping around. That's about it, dog. But what's up with you, dog? You're in New York City.
I was in New York City, bro. Let me tell you what happened, man.
April Fools, dog.
April Fools. Tracy Morgan looking healthy,
Awesome, dude.
One leg feels heavier because of the settlement. Nah.
All that money,
He was
dog.
looking good, and I met him right away. He introduced me. He messed up my name, first of all. He asked me 10 times, how do you say your name? Hey, man, I want to mess up your name. How do you say your name? I don't know. I can't imitate him.
How you say your name?
No, it was more like, you're the future, whatever. So he brought me up as, ladies and gentlemen, this guy just won last comic standing. Give it up for Ezra. Ezra. Like that. Fool, everybody just like, shh, quiet, bro. I went up there, grabbed the microphone. That fool was limping away. I said, give it up for Kevin Hart. Fool, the crowd died, man.
They lost it.
Got him back, fool.
Awesome, dude.
After that, man, I had to do it 10 minutes. I do 10 minutes in my sleep. I could stutter 10 minutes of jokes.
Hell yeah, dog.
So I did the 10 minutes.
Killer?
I gave him an extra 12. So I did 12 minutes, and I got off the stage, and he goes, come back here, man. How do you say your name?
Okay.
Felipe Esparza. He goes, nah, man, you're the future. He just said, you're the future. So he brought me up as the future. And Lisa told me that he felt really bad for messing up my name. He kept talking about it. Esdra, Felipe Esdra. How do you say it?
Uh-huh.
So then he said he didn't know why they were laughing afterwards, right? Why are they laughing? Oh, man, he just said give it up for Kevin Hart. Oh, see, man, he got tools. He got tools. See, he's a future. A lot of people would have been mad, huh?
Oh, yeah, just to stray away from their act, huh?
How would Willie Barcena act, bro?
He'd try to headbutt somebody, dog.
If he would have said, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Willie Cardena. Come on.
Hey, bro, what's going on here, bro? Bro, get crazy, dog. Come on.
All right, let's get to the shout-outs, man.
Hell
before
yeah.
people start turning off the podcast.
Make it happen, man.
Tony Perez listens to both podcasts in his drive from San Diego to Rancho Cucamonga to visit his side chick. No, I'm just kidding. We'll scratch that out, but, I was just trying to get laughs. Los Digits from Twitter, who listens every week. That's Los Digits. Marisol Montes listens to both podcasts. And I don't know what happened, but she got her Instagram deleted.
Like somebody reported her?
But you know me, man. I be nosy, bro. I be finding out what happened. And there was like an Instagram fight.
Between her and somebody?
Her and some hate. I don't know what the Instagram fight about, but they're throwing out pictures at each other. How you used to look. No, how you used to look.
How you really look.
It's like a fight that you could only have with somebody who really knows you. But I didn't get the fight. I don't even know what's going on. Uh-huh. Whatever, man. I hope you get your Instagram back and things go back to normal. Too much information. Oh, wow. You went for a shout out. There it is. Jose San Antonio Barrios from the Barrio listens to both podcasts. Happy birthday, bro. It's not every day you're 17. George from, what? I never heard of this. Orsi.
Yeah.
Give it up for George from Orsi, California. He listens to it on iTunes and reviews it. Okay, everybody. This is the important part. I'm going to need everybody to right now grab the next person next to you and make them download the podcast right now
and subscribe.
Or when if you guys are partying with friends and somebody goes to the bathroom while they're in the bathroom, go to their iTunes and subscribe to the What's Up Food podcast. It's really helping us get rated. Last week we were number 59.
Hell yeah!
Out of a lot of podcasts.
Grip of them, thousands.
We beat a lot of people who think they're bad, bro.
Not even trying,
yeah, man. People just show up and we're just trying to talk about, and I had great coffee today.
Oh yeah, it's great coffee at that spot.
Oh, yeah, man. My nanny came over and we fixed.
So said nanny.
Well, I listened to this podcast about these two ladies talk about taking care of kids, and they both have nannies. I mean, if I had a nanny,
You can do anything.
I would have still been with my kids right now. I mean, how can you really say the best way to raise a family, is to? But some people are just too busy, but need a nanny. But I wouldn't have a podcast about parenting if you have a nanny. You should have her on the show. Yo limpio las nalgas, les doy de comer y cuando yo les doy todo. Esta güera no hace nada. No hago todo, nada. Man, were you into skateboarding when you were a kid?
I was more into BMX and shit, but I mean, I was around skaters and
You're
shit.
Too big to skateboard, huh?
Oh yeah, dude. I wasn't a fucking a skater, dude. I was just
a break dancer. I started off break
not
dancing.
even break dancing, dude. Watching break
dancing.
Are you serious?
Yeah, man. I had no moves, but I used to steal white gloves from Sears for everybody.
Pop blocking.
I used to sell merch for break dancers. I used to sell bandanas, baggy. I take it old school break dancing, bro. We used to wear genie pants and scarves on your leg warmers, and go to Venice Beach and then get jacked by Venice Shoreline Crips.
Are you serious?
Or suicidal Tennessee. So my brother used to skateboard and hang out with Chaka because we used to live in Aliso Village.
They were skaters?
They were fake skaters, bro. Man, they were skaters, bro. When I started out skating, bro, it was sad because some people didn't have real skateboards, and they used to make their own skateboard, man. It's one guy, he used to hit a skateboard, but his wheels were the wheels from the couch, bro. So you could only
get him on the trucks, dude.
He used to skateboard with couch wheels, bro. If we used to ollie and then his skateboard turned into a lazy boy. So my bro, I was never a good skater, but all the dirty kids were the best skaters, dude.
Oh, dude.
Because they had to they know how to fix their skateboards, and then when I went to El Sereno Junior High School, I met a lot of guys who were skating, a lot of break dancers, and then I went back to Roosevelt and I started hanging around with the kids that didn't want to be cholos,
Uh-huh.
There was a group of kids that used to hang around together, it was maybe a bunch of Latinos, one white guy who got transferred from North Hollywood, and then a couple of Asian kids. But we used to all skateboard, but we never bought skateboards. We used to get our skateboards from Montebello. We used to wait for little rich kids to buy them. Then when they're in the alley practicing tricks, what's up, bro? Give me that Christian Hosoi. Give me that vision board.
That vision.
Give me that Paul Peralta. Fool, I was the one time where I had 10 skateboards. But there were no skateboard shops in my neighborhood. I was the skateboard shop. And if you wanted a vision board, bro, a Christian Hosoi, or a Steve Caballero.
Let me see what I can do.
All the names, bro. Because I should do it now as a bit. I said, man, when you mix a Latino woman or when you mix a white girl with a Latino man, that kid is born. It's going to be the best skater in the whole wide world. You just because the best skaters are mixed kids. You got Caballeros. So I would do that bit. So that was the way I got in. And I used to watch a lot of skateboard videos. Remember that song, Skate and Destroy? A lot of demos. And but I could never ollie. I'm too fat. I never got to do no tricks. I could never do anything. But down the 4th Street and 6th Street bridge, I used to go down the hill.
On the skateboard?
Standing up, fool. That was my claim to fame. I was more like a long downhill rider than tricks. Because, man, you got to get I just didn't want to get hurt, man.
Oh, well, that's the thing. You can't have no fear doing that, dude.
Plus, a lot of the people in my neighborhood weren't great. They were not great, and a lot of them gave up after a while. But I continue to get skateboards for people.
Felipe skate shop?
Skate shop, bro. So, actually, our guest this week, we met him briefly.
Yeah, at the Humphreys by the Bay.
Humphreys by the Bay. He was checking in 2010 or somewhere, you know?
Yeah, I was checking in the hotel right there.
Or maybe, I don't know.
And you rolled up. It was you and your wife. And we just went out. I was like, dude, I'm all, hey, man, are you Christian Hosoi? And because I recognized your face. He's like, yeah, dude. And you're super cool. Took a picture with us. And the manager kept in contact with them, right?
No, we took a picture with him real quick. And then we went to our room. That was the night before we did a show there for the Last Comic Standing.
Yeah, dude.
And if you guys don't know this place, it's like one of the best places to have a concert with kids because they could be watching TV, and you could go in the lobby or on your roof and you can watch the whole show. By the way, I'll be performing there this summer. July 15th, Humphreys by the Bay. Damn. If you can't get tickets, get a boat.
What town is that in?
San Diego.
Oh, okay.
You don't even remember.
Yeah, I'm like,
the song's made up.
I know, huh? No, it was a trip, dude. It was tight.
Oh, another time, somebody name dropped you, bro, and of course, I should have said, no, this guy's bullshitting. He's hanging out with Christian Hosoi at a drum circle, you know?
Oh, dog!
There's a guy, Christian Hosoi.
Was it in Albuquerque?
No, it was close. It was in Venice by Marina del Rey, by that Cow's End Cafe. There was a guy with a bottle of water full of vodka, and he said he was the drummer of the Butthole Surfers.
That fully psyched you out?
King Coffee.
All right.
And then I took a picture with him. It was my first wedding day. I had just got married. We spent our wedding night down the street by the beach, and we were walking, you know. Then this guy showed up. He goes, yeah, man, I'm da-da-da-da-da-da. And then he mentioned Butthole Surfer. Yeah, man, I know. Yeah, you're the drummer from Butthole Surfer. Yeah, man, I am. Yeah, bro. So we started talking. He wanted weed. I didn't have any, of course. Then he goes, yeah, so where you going right now, man? I'm gonna go hang out over there at down the street with Steve name dropping Christian Hosoi. We're gonna be at the drum circle smoking a big doobie. And
what year was this?
That was 2000.
2 years ago, right?
2 years ago.
Yeah, because I knew that fool was sober, dude.
And I believed him. I knew that he's sober and his life's changed, but I knew. I said, wait a minute, Christian Hosoi still hanging around with losers, you know. just to you know, a little taste of what could happen, you know, what's down the street, trials and tribulations over here. But nah, so I didn't really believe them. I thought maybe Christian Hosoi was gonna be there. Anyways, I don't know why, it was a drum circle.
Waiting
we had the family. But I thought, okay, he'll be at the drum circle. But then he's mentioned these other names, these other skaters. I got excited, bro. I'm going to go over there. Then I started talking to people. Then I saw him, I thought you were going to go hang out with Christian Hosoi, you liar. And he goes, nah, bro, he left, man. And
he left.
So, long story short, that's not King Coffee, the drummer of Butthole Surfer. He scams a lot of people.
He's an impersonator.
He's an imposter.
Yeah, imposter.
The real King Coffee hit you up, right? That's how you found out?
The real King Coffee said, that's not me, bro. I've died twice already.
So were you the leader of your pack when you skated back in the day with all those boards?
No, man. I was in the back last. I couldn't keep up.
But, I mean, you know, were you kind of like running your crew, or were you just one of the bunch? Because you seem like a leader.
I was one of the bunch, but I was in charge of merch.
Merchandise.
I was like, I knew who wanted what. Who wanted what. Like, there was a time when there was people in my neighborhood, they stole a bunch of a drum set. A whole drum set. And there were these crackheads. They broke into the warehouse. That's when the neighborhood was changing. People were moving into the warehouses, like lofts. I didn't know what a loft was. And they bought those drums, and they wanted I bought the whole drum set for $60.
Damn.
The next day, stole it for $250.
What year was this?
Oh, it was like 1991.
Wow.
Pearl drums. This other guy was trying to rob me.
So you're like 30 years old right now.
I'm 47.
Wow, you're my age?
I'm your age, bro. And I still look up to you. That's what we're the same age, man.
Dude.
We're close. I'm still older than you. I'm going to be 49 this year, but
I'm actually 38 on IMDb. On IMDb, it says Felipe Esparza, born June 11, 1976, in Sinaloa, Mexico.
Right on. Well, I'm honored to be here. I'm
man.
stoked you guys called me in. I mean, this is
We're
a treat. I've through my wife, she was telling me about your stand up and all that, and I checked it out and I was cracking up.
Thank you.
Yeah. Because, Venice back in the day, like you said, the whole baggy pants, the break dancing, the hacky sack, all that stuff. We'd be down there, me, Jay Adams, and we'd be skating around, just terrorizing the beach back then. And yeah, Shoreline Crips were down there running the show, regulating the beach. Then the Venice, all the kids that, the Mexican kids that didn't want to get in gangs were skateboarding and surfing, doing the whole Mexican Skateboarding and Surfing Association, and we had a blast back then.
It was fun time, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was great.
It was a good time to be a kid, because even if you didn't live in that area, you showed up there from the projects. Because I wasn't even in the projects, and I was like an hour and a half away, but I got on that 33 bus and I made it there.
And just check out the action. Really cracking over there.
And also, skateboarders showed up to my elementary school when I was a kid, back in 1981.
To do demos or what?
Yeah, they did a demo there. And I remember they showed up. There were white kids. I don't know. Could have been you. And
81, I was still amateur. I turned pro in 82. And so that was when I started breaking out, 81, 82.
Who'd you start off with? Who was your first team?
I started with Z-Flex. Jay Adams took me under his wing and took me over to his spot and just got me fully zooted out with like Z-Flex product. Then Alva put me on his team, Tony Alva. And then Stacy Peralta saw me and he's like, Christian, you need to ride for the Bones Brigade. And that's when I got spotted for Bones Brigade. But I was still amateur and I was only 12 years old. Then I won the biggest amateur contest in 1980. And then I said, I want to turn pro. And Stacy was like, no, you're not ready. And so I quit and I went to go ride for Dogtown. And Dogtown, he's like, Christian, you don't want to do that. And I'm like, no, it's going to be awesome. Wes Humpston, all my heroes, Shogo Kubo were on Dogtown. And I went and they went out of business. And I was like, what's next? And Tom Sims, I don't know if you remember Sims.
Yeah.
But Tom Sims approached me and he's like, Christian, I want to talk to you about getting on Sims. And I was like, wow, Brad Bowman, Doug DeMont, all these guys that I looked up to. And I went there and then he sold the license, his name, to somebody else. And so it ended up being about 2 years before I actually turned pro, like if I were to stay on the Bones Brigade. But I ended up getting my first model from Sims, and that was that Rising Sun board.
I remember that board. Bro, I used to have Dogtown gear too, man.
Oh, hell yeah.
If you wanted some. But I used to ride Dogtown on my. I was like a poser, bro. Because I really couldn't. I really couldn't skateboard, but I wanted to be part of the scene.
But that's what all the kids did, though. The logos were so important. You always remember that.
I had the haircut, though.
Yeah, dude.
I think that separated you when you started drawing and you started doing the, having the board. Back then, it wasn't like it is now. Now everybody thinks they're cool, just because they kind of can Google it and know about it. But back then, it's like you really had to know your cultures, and that's what was rad about back then.
I know, man. Back then, if you had a video recorder, you were God. You could just make your own bootleg tape.
Totally,
yeah,
just like
I don't even think we videoed ever. Like back in the day, we'd go skateboard, we'd go to events and contests and demos, and we weren't thinking, okay, we should video this. Like now, kids walk down the street and they're videoing themselves. Or back then, we didn't really think about it. Then the magazines would come out and be like, oh, well, let's shoot your photo. And we'd be like, all right, cool. But really, it wasn't on our radar that we should document this stuff.
I know, man. Back in the days, man, people wouldn't want to watch Christian Hosoi falling and hitting his head. They would have probably stopped watching already. Now you get 100 million views just by falling.
Oh, yeah, dude.
I could fall. That's why, man, like, I always thought the skateboarders there were like gods, because there was never no video out there of them messing up. Everything always looked perfect. If I would have saw them actually practice, I probably would not have been into it.
It just, dude, it's unbelievable, dude. If you really look at it, dude.
A lot of skaters in Riverside too.
A grip, dude. Fools used to have their own ramps in the back and shit. All types of shit, dude. Ramp, a lot of vert back then, before street.
Yeah, Upland Skate Park, right?
Oh,
Pipeline.
totally. Yeah, that's a
right
old
there.
school spot right there. Still there.
Then Colton, all those parks back then, those were the heavy spots. Inland Empire, come on. It was a lot of battle between the inland guys and then the West Side guys. It was always kind of like the Badlanders against the Dogtowners, and there was kind of like a cool clash back then because punk rock came in probably the late 70s, and then that's when skateboarding took on this harder edge. It was not your surf like style anymore. It became punk, rebellious.
Oh yeah,
had attitude. It was all about draining pools, just localizing, and I think that element of the skateboard culture is what today everybody's like kind of so attracted to, and it's kind of like a lifestyle more so than a sport, because people, now they see it as a sport because you got the X Games, you got all these street leagues and all these things where they can go, and now they're going to be in the Olympics coming up, pretty soon. But back then it was like we were outlaws.
You guys were all just pretty much just grimy. There was a whole scene that was just going on and nobody was really documenting. Like you were saying, if people had video cameras, you guys were just doing that shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then with the whole punk scene too, like you, Dwayne Peters, all those guys, created that culture, as you say. Opposed to like, people look at it and go, how the fuck do you get into it? Or like, dude, that's so fucking cool. Now it's more clean cut, polished up and all that shit.
Yeah. I mean, there's millions of dollars in it now, where back then we're like, oh, we're going to get paid too? This is sick. You know what I mean? We weren't really thinking. I mean, I dreamt about it. I envisioned that skateboarding would be like we would make millions of dollars one day. But back then we were happy to make $1,000 for first place and travel, all over the world doing, what we love to do. So to get paid was just like a bonus. We were like, this is, I mean, I'm sure it's like that for you.
Yeah.
You're like, I get to come up here and talk smack to people and talk about people and the culture. And
well look at it this way.
I mean, to me, that's like a dream, that's like a dream come true.
Yeah, and that was all small with, started like in 81, you started getting the covers of like Thrasher magazine and all that. You guys were going all the way to San Leandro doing those small little ramp competitions and stuff. And if you look back when you guys were doing Que Locos before it was getting on TV and all that shit, that was underground shit. Now, you, Gabriel, you guys still represent the old school shit, but you guys are still fucking, fledging along with the fucking torch, Nobody forgot.
Man. Yeah. Keep it coming.
Yeah. I just got a message here. Gonzalez Pool.
Yeah, there was a pool called Gonzo's Pool where it was like iconic, and today it just got bulldozed a few years ago.
Where was that at?
It was right in like Mar Vista, right next to Venice.
Abandoned?
But it was where Tony Alva, Jay, all those guys had their, amazing photos, and so for us that was the elite, and for even today, kind of like the comedians that you look at as the elite. Is kind of like how we look at certain things as being the elite of the elite. But I tell you,
kind of like somebody burning down the Comedy Store. So is this the place where everybody hung out and the guy had cancer, like in the movie, or a different place?
No, that was the Dog Bowl. That was in the movie.
Did you perform there too?
No, I was too young. I came in right after that. And so that was like on that's when the skate park started up. Marina Del Rey Skate Park opened, where my father became the manager, and that's how I really became, it was my life, and I did it every single day and hung out with Jay Adams, Shogo. Those guys took me under their wing and just raised me basically as their younger brother, and that's how I really became, who I am today, really.
You travel all over the world?
Traveled all over the world. I mean, I don't know how many times, and I'm still not dead. I didn't die, didn't kill nobody, but, you would think, living that crazy life that I used to live back in the 80s and the mid 90s, it was out of hand. But, back then we were just trying to push the bar. I was trying to break records. I was trying to, be on the cover of magazines. You know what it's like. I mean, now it's about, making yourself known, being an entertainer. I was being an entertainer through not only skateboarding, but through my lifestyle. And I think that there's something, to that. And when people talk about my story today, or see my documentary, read my book, it's like all about the fashion. It's all about the, partying. It's all about girls. It's all about money, traveling. But back then it was all about that. And it really created this identity and image for kids to like look up to. I mean, you look at superstars and kids want to follow in those footsteps. And so it's kind of a big responsibility, you know what I mean, when you're influencing people. And so now today, I mean, obviously, if you know my story, I ended up getting hooked on drugs and going to prison and ending up, throwing it all away for a minute. But through that, I've turned it all around, and now I'm 16 and a half years sober. I've got a family.
Congratulations.
I'm 40. I'm going to be 49 years old, and I get to travel around skateboarding all over again, and it's now my occupation all over again. So,
did the drug start in the beginning? Was there a lot of drugs in skating, or after parties, or you just hung out with the wrong crowd? Because usually for comedians, it just happens like out of the sudden you're doing stand-up comedy, it's all fun and games, then you get arrested, or somehow your friends leave you and you're hanging out with some new dudes.
And it's 2 days later.
Or now like people just like they get groupies, man. They want to, hey man, here's some drugs.
People handing you packages.
Yeah, I mean it gets like that. People give it to you for free.
So you started young?
But I started young. I was smoking weed at 8 years old. I was doing
How do you know if it's good at 8?
Well, you're taught, right?
It just happens.
I guess I didn't know with the right dudes, but how do you know, man? Hey, man, you know what? I like watching Popeye, but yesterday I smoked this joint. It just felt like 10 Popeye commercials.
I would know how it feels when he eats a spinach.
Oh, my God, man. I smoked this joint, man. I almost wanted to go back to breastfeeding.
Well, my father grew up going to art school, graduated with his master's degree, fine art, Berkeley, played music, blues, reggae. I've even seen Bob Marley twice. I saw him when I was 7 and 11.
Awesome,
and
dude.
I knew every word to every song, so smoking weed was just normal back then. I didn't think that it was unusual. I thought you were kind of like a moron if you didn't smoke weed at 10 years old.
Wow.
And when I went to the skate park, I was hanging out with my mentors, and those kids were Jay Adams, and they were like 17, and I was smoking weed with them. I mean, even with my father was just like, he was kind of like a big brother. He just watched over me. But it was allowed. We would just do whatever we wanted to do. And then, I got into doing acid, mushrooms at 11, 12, doing cocaine at 14, completely addicted to it because all these, friends of mine, all these girls, they hung out with all the coke dealers and we'd end up getting it all for free. So we were just basically doing a whole bunch of Quaaludes. That's when methaquaaludes were happening.
Man, Quaaludes, I don't know about Quaaludes since I saw that movie, The Wolf of Wall Street.
But then there came a point where it started interfering with my competition. I stayed up all night one night doing coke, and I went to a contest, and I'm like, I got this.
Doing rails
I
on
got
rails.
this, right?
Rails on rails.
And I ended up getting like 3rd place, and I was like, this ain't working for me, and I quit. And I said, I'm not going to do drugs anymore. I'm just going to smoke weed and drink beer. And and on the weekends, I'll do drugs. I won't do it every day. That was my idea of not doing drugs anymore.
I always have the best plans. I'm going to lay on my plan, bro. I must go strictly to wine, dog.
Yeah.
Bro, you didn't even grow up drinking wine. My wife and I were talking about that. I remember that time you said, I'm not going to do wine no more.
Chasing that buzz, dog.
How sad it was for me one time, Christian, man. We were just talking about it in our podcast. I was so bummed out one day. You know, you normally, when you're sad, you write your lady's name. Oh, I miss Shauna, or I miss so-and-so. Well, I wrote Xanax on that note. With a heart.
For real.
Just because you're out there, Xanax, you were missed. That's how. So you said, so what happened? You went, I'm gonna just try doing just bud and beer.
Yeah. And that's when I started really dominating skateboarding. Like every contest, it was my goal to strive to invent maneuvers like Rocket Air, Christ Air, all these, maneuvers that I invented. And then, in my mid-20s, I ended up skateboarding kind of died 90s when street skating came in. And it kind of like threw us for a loop because here we are, number one, we're the guys to now there's these guys flipping their boards and they're the popular kid, and skateboarding contests are going in a whole different direction. They're not arenas and big, huge vert walls where we're flying 10 feet above them. It's like going over and riding on a picnic bench. And I was like, what happened? You know what I mean? But I got it. I was like, all right, I'm going to start a company, blah, blah, blah. But then I moved to Orange County and I got introduced to crystal methamphetamine. And that's when I was like, this stuff is the bomb. You know what I mean? I was like, this is insane. How come we don't have this in LA? And so I quit everything else and all I did was meth. And I did it from 93 all the way to 2000. And I did it every single day from 95 till 2000 to the point where I was just like staying up for days at a time, having bench warrants for possession. X Games was in 95. They're like, Christian, you're coming. I'm like, yeah. And then I'd be in Hawaii.
You were supposed to take out Tony Hawk.
Yeah. It was pitted for us to go up against each other. And
the Thriller of Manila.
And I was just strung out. And, by the grace of God, I didn't OD. And then I met my wife, Jennifer, like in 99, like the end of 98, 99. And I mean, short story is we fell in love with each other at pretty much almost like first sight because we didn't leave each other. It was a little volatile because we were all on drugs and doing crystal meth and hanging out, doing what we were doing. Guys? Yeah, we met doing drugs
Bonnie
together.
And Clyde.
Total Bonnie and Clyde situation. And then I went to Hawaii.
Did you guys ever do that? Did you guys ever do? Sorry, let me cut you off. Did you guys ever do that couple move where you go hang around with people you don't know just to get free drugs?
You know what? I'm sure we did that together a lot. We were a good team. We were a good team.
When a couple party together, they know how to do it, bro. Like,
yeah.
Especially, man, respect that you guys still together because sometimes, man, Bonnie and Clyde teams don't last.
It just lasts for that time.
We were at a party one time, remember? And that couple showed up, and that guy brought out a bottle of vodka, and his wife brought out cups from her purse. I said, yep, here we go.
Yeah.
The party
couple, and it didn't last. She had a friend almost OD at her house, and she's like, I'm quitting drugs. I'm going to church. And I was like, sweet, I'll go. In church? I was like, what? Church is good. I'm good. Dope's good. Skating's good. Me and her good. I just thought God was about being good. I didn't know that there was a spiritual aspect to it. I went with her. Nothing happened. Did drugs all the way there, all the way back. And, it says, in the Bible, it says bad character corrupts, good morals. And sure enough, I got her back into using, and I went to Hawaii, and she's like, you want to go with me? And she's like, yeah. And so I brought her, and then I got arrested. And, I never grew up in church, never read a Bible. Name's Christian, nickname Christ in 85. Cover a magazine, Thrasher, says Christ on there. And I invented a maneuver called the Christ Air in the 80s, mid-80s. Lived my life, being called this. And no one ever talked to me about spiritual things, Jesus, prayer. I didn't know anybody who went to church. I don't think you knew anybody either, right? Or did you go to church?
I went to church, bro, but I still, I waited for people outside. I ain't lie. I was raised Catholic, but I said it previously on the other podcast, I would go to church, but I wouldn't go inside. I would just get the flyer and wait outside. And then when everybody gets out, as long as you have the flyer from the church or the message that he said at the end, menudo right at 5 o'clock. But I don't know how to. I would sit there as a kid. And I can lie, we went to church on Sunday. I would sit there, I don't know, man. That message didn't hit me. It didn't hit me till I started being a violent person. Then I would go to church. Oh, man, motherfucker's talking about me. Did my mom tell him what I did yesterday? Then I started feeling too guilty. I said, man, church ain't for me.
It's funny because I didn't grow up in church, but when I went to prison, I ended up getting 70 months. For a sentence. And in there,
you were caught, right, in Hawaii?
Caught in Hawaii.
Dealing or what?
Just carrying a whole bunch on an airplane.
Personal or to sell?
Well, I was doing it for personal, but I had to carry a whole bunch to get personal.
It's just personal.
Yeah.
When you got caught, man, because Hawaii was already turning into a meth epidemic, huh?
Yeah, it was an ice epidemic.
Oh, that's right. It was ice.
Yep.
And I remember, man, because I knew a girl that lived over there that booked me to do Hawaii, and she goes, Felipe, man, it's hot out here with meth. They just caught the model for this Hawaiian Tropic. She was bringing in meth in and out of her competitions. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, Dogman, the bounty hunter.
He was busted for it back in the day.
Yeah.
And now he's busting people. But which is
when did you feel like this
get
is
back?
Like, when addicts hit that rock bottom, when did you hit it? Like, when you felt like this is it, man?
It was that first day when I got there. I was on the news, and I get into the prison. I'm walking in, and they're like, "What's up, Christian Hosoi? I got your board when I was a kid." I was like, "What are you here for?" He's like, "I'm here for murder." I was like, "Oh." I'm like, sick, tried to play it off, like. So what? How long you doing? He's like 140 years, double life sentence, and I was just like, what am I doing here right now? And it hit me right then, and I made my first phone call to Jennifer, and I was like, Jen, I'm looking at 10 years, and she's like, you know what? I love you. We just got to trust in God. And I was like, I'm sitting there on the phone, and they're all sitting next to you, on the phone. Get your first phone call
in line, and
I'm like trying not to cry, already, and I'm like, hey. God, I need a lawyer. I need an attorney. I don't need God right now. You know what I mean? I thought you needed God when you were dying, when you're on your deathbed, that you'd have a priest come in and sprinkle water on you or something. I didn't know. I just thought that it was like that. And hopefully you've done more good than bad, and maybe you'll go to heaven. I didn't know.
It's funny how God's so nice sometimes, how like these fools always show up asking for shit when shit's down.
My idea of God was like The Godfather, you know what I mean? Watching, those types of movies. I didn't have anything to reflect or draw from. And she just said, you just need to go get a Bible. And that day, first day, I went and got a Bible, and it was like
reading on toilet paper.
Pretty much. I mean, the guy who gave me the Bible, because there wasn't one on the book stand, he was in jail for like 5 years already, and he was doing another 5, and he was just in transit, and he's like, oh, you want to use my Bible? One of the veteran, looked like he's been there for a while, veterano, right? And I'm like, you don't need it? And he's like, no, I don't need it. It's cool. And I got it, and it's like all marked up, written in, underlines, all these things. And I was like, what is
Notes,
this?
Bro.
I was like, what's these columns and numbers? I've never even opened one up. I've been in 1 million hotels. How many hotels have you been in?
A lot of them, man.
Okay. How many of them you seen that Bible in that drawer? Every single one of them about.
The Gideon, bro.
Right?
You get the last page to roll a weed when there's no papers.
I put my weed underneath it so the maids wouldn't take it. That was my idea. But I sat there and opened it up, and it was like I opened it up, and it was like, boom, the scales fell off my eyes like the first day. Because right before I made a deal with God, I was like, you ever come to that place? You're like, oh, God, I'll do this for you. I won't do this ever again. Get me out of this situation. I made all those deals with him, but I meant it. I was like, I'll speak to kids. I'll tell kids not to do drugs again. I won't do drugs again. You know what I mean? Yeah. Just get me out. I want bail.
Oh, man. I remember making deals like that too, man. Come on, man. I'm volunteering, man. I'll coach baseball league.
I'm telling you. And I went to the bail hearing, and they're like, danger to the community, threat to society, no bail. And I was like, damn, what happened to my deal, But in my heart, I knew something changed, because it says that if you'll search for God with your whole heart, you'll find him. And I really believe that in that moment, I had a desire to know who God was, because I never had an idea. And so I spent the rest of that 5 years in prison studying, reading the word every single day. I didn't have a pastor. I didn't have anybody telling me what the Bible meant. So my whole experience was just reading God's word. And so that's how I have my relationship with God. And that's how I've come out. Obviously I did like 5 years, and,
where at?
I did it in 2 years in San Bernardino County Jail.
waiting for a bed.
A triple-decker bunk bed, by the way.
Man. I was locked up for warrants twice, and I saw the same Samoan checking me in, right? And I asked this Samoan guy, he was about the same height. He goes, hey, bro, no, not to get in your business, because you're going to ask polite, because I don't want to know his business, but you were here in the last 2 years I was here. You're always here. What's going on? Oh, yeah, man, they got me 15. I'm doing 15 or 25 to life, but I'm waiting for my bed. You know, waiting for a chino to open up, for a bed for me. So you could, so my wife, we were talking about, you could do 5 years in county jail waiting, huh?
Well, I was a fed, so I was
federal time.
Yeah, I was waiting for my sentencing, and I was like fighting my case. I was like, nah, I need to get like less time, and I had all these attorneys rip me off. My dad sold his property in Hawaii and paid a lawyer, said that they were going to help me out, and really they couldn't do anything, and took the money. And then we dealt with that for like 4 or 5 attorneys. And then finally I just got this guy who just said, I'll do it. It's an easy case. And he was a hotshot attorney.
Better call Saul.
He was like the cheapest, and he got the most done because he believed in what was happening to me. The post-rehabilitation, I was doing Scared Straight programs. People were bringing their sheriffs, because they used to skate back in the day. They were like, Christian, man, will you speak to my church? And he'd bring his whole church into the to the mess hall. And I'd speak to the church about my relationship with God and, make right choices and stuff like that. And I had my address in the magazine, and I had like hundreds of letters coming to the jail and all the magazines. And so I had the judge sent all these character reference letters, and my wife put it together. My wife, Jennifer, put it together, and it was just like 200 letters on character reference. And so the judge took all that into consideration, and there's a downward departure called post-rehabilitation, and it's a huge point deduction. And so during that time, there was no, the actual defending attorneys could not submit these downward departures unless the district attorney approved of it. And the district attorney didn't like me because I didn't turn somebody in. I didn't, cooperate with the government. So he was pissed. He was like, no, he's doing the whole 120 months. And he kept fighting that. And my attorney and him used to be district attorneys together before. And now he's a defense attorney. So they're battling it out in the courtroom, and I'm sitting here. He's yelling at the guy. I'm like, be cool on the guy. This guy's going to hang me. And you're like just trying to hang him. But it was pretty, amazing how God in it, through the judge being a Christian judge.
Also, Jennifer, with those 200 letters, man. Don't forget about those 200 letters. Hey, God helps those.
She didn't write them on her own, by the way.
She had to gather those letters. Yeah. I got an email from somebody. Hey, Felipe, man, they're trying to give me life for delete. Delete. Because I'm pretty sure you probably emailed the world, right? Because a lot of people don't want to get involved.
Yeah, and that's the thing. They came out to support you, too, because those are character letters from people that knew you, right?
Yeah, people who knew me. And
200, man.
Jennifer went to, like, the industry and really, I mean, I have to say,
skaters, all types
I have
of
the best wife.
Gator couldn't get done. You were locked up with a guy Gator, right?
No, okay. He was somewhere else. Okay, but
I think I crossed each other.
He's state. And I'm federal, so it's two
so
different.
You're Pelican Bay. Yeah. You're up there. You're up there in that prison I did a show at, bro. Lompoc.
Yeah, that's the type of prison.
The gated.
Yeah. I was in Las Vegas. I did mine at Nellis, and it was the one that. What's her name? I think Barbara Walters did a special on it because they used to have a golf course, a tennis court, a swimming pool, and when she did the actual thing, because it was for fraudulent, it's just camp status, fraud cases, and all these guys were just basically having like a resort. And when she did the whole thing, they took all that out.
That's sad.
Because I put my form in for it, and I got it, and I was like, sick! I was like sick, and I went there, and they had nothing.
Where was that at?
It was on the Nellis Air Force Base in Las Vegas.
And that was because I did a show in Lompoc, and we were driving in. We took a whole tour of the Lompoc Federal Penitentiary, but there was a side for congressmen, for people who stole billions but didn't kill nobody.
Yeah. Michael Milliken?
Yeah.
And they're like, no gate. They're playing softball. Maybe one guard was drinking iced tea, just watching them. And then they could wander off like a regular person and ask the guard, what are those guys? You go, oh, they're just white collar crimes. So they could just really walk away if they want. Yeah, but if they walk away, they're gonna be in a big prison.
Yeah.
So they didn't send you there?
No, I had no violent history crimes. I didn't, I grew up pretty clean, I mean, I did a lot of raging, but I didn't get in any trouble. I had no violent, criminal activity. And so I was able to classify for camp status. And so it was nice for that reason. But at the same time, it's still prison.
Man, it's still crazy, man, because it's a reality check when you walk into jail, man. Even if you're doing one day.
It's funny, and I always tell people, I live my life outside, having everything on a silver platter, travel in the world, money, fame, all this, but it felt like I always had to prove, or I had to jump through these hoops to make myself feel good, try to satisfy my inner person, myself. And I was never really free, content, truly content and satisfied. And then I got to prison and I asked Christ to come into my heart. And I was like, man, all of a sudden I felt this freedom I never felt before, that I was who I was supposed to be and that I had a purpose, that my purpose was to influence people, but in a positive way, to help people not make mistakes. Where before I was like, yeah, here's how you make mistakes, Now
this is how we do it.
Yeah, this is how you get to prison. And I'm a good example, right? But it was in that place that I found true freedom. And, everybody says, how can you find it when you're in prison? And I always tell everybody that I went from, instead of everyone saying I had freedom to prison, I always say I was in prison my whole life, not knowing who my true identity was in Christ, to getting into a prison cell and being set free. And so for the first time in my life, I was free. And how, it's such an ironic thing for there to be bars and everybody to be going, you're crazy. And I was like, man, this is sick. I'm going to heaven. You know what I mean? I was like, you don't even know the things I went through that I could have been in hell right now. But you know what? Now I'm going to heaven. So I would walk to chow all happy. I'd cruise into, the chow hall and everybody's like all pissed off, all bummed to be there. I was like, sweet, this is sick. What's up? I had peace and joy and love. And my girlfriend at the time, I was like, babe, I love you. Want to get married? She's like, you just want me to stay with you because you're in prison. You know what I mean? Be by yourself, and then you're gonna be
furlough.
You just want me to be here, and then when I get out, you're gonna leave me, huh? And I'm like, no, that ain't me no more. I said, that ain't me no more. I've changed.
I'm not like that.
I'm not like that no more.
You're special.
And she was like, but then she's like, you know what? I need to ask God about this. And she goes, how do I ask God? And her uncle is a pastor, and he goes, well, read the Bible. She's like, okay, where do I read? She goes, Proverbs. And he goes, well, where? I'll just read my age. And she was 22. And she goes, well, what number should I pick? It was the date 18. So she goes, 1822. And it says, he who finds a wife find what is good and has favor from the Lord. That's what that scripture says. And so she went and got a marriage license and ended up coming in and saying, I'm marrying you, babe. And that's the true story right there.
Wow.
I thank God, because God hooked that up.
Man, my first day in rehab, right? Back when I was hooked on crack, back in the 91, 92. And I had the same thing that happened to him, but it took a while, right? I went a lot of nights of weeping quietly by myself.
Cleansing.
Because you can't really cry like that. We got that gas. You can't really cry. So I would go somewhere in the woods and be like, I'm fucked up. I was all sad. But then, after a while, man, I felt happy again, man. And I was in rehab, but I was just happy that I wasn't in jail because everybody in rehab were N numbers. Mm-hmm. And you were an N number, you had to go to jail or go to rehab. You didn't get that choice, huh?
No.
Did you fight for that? Because you could have got that, maybe.
Yeah, I think they called it.
Should have had a pipe with you.
Yeah, they call it something, but in federal prison, it ain't like that. You do 85% of your time. You don't do half time, and there's no conjugal visits. There's none of that. There's no furloughs. There's none of that. But, I think that's what it took for me to be able to have that much pressure on me to change my life. Because, I could talk my way out of anything. I could pull any card. I could call any friend and, and really get myself out of any situation. But finally, all those lines were cut, and I had to really evaluate myself and see who I was on the inside. And through, that time in there, I think it really built a foundation for me to stay sober when I got out, to say, you know what, I want to serve God more. How do I do that? Well, you get involved in the church. I got involved in the church, and now I'm a pastor at the Sanctuary Church in, Costa Mesa. And now I travel around the world sharing my story at churches all over the world. And, Jennifer, we have 2 children together, and, 9 and 6. And, we've been through the ringer. Even when we got out, people think, oh, it's awesome. Now everything's great. Well, married, you're married.
Yeah.
There comes a point where you have to really deal with your personalities and things you don't want to compromise with. And,
I got baby mamas.
Yeah.
You got baby mamas?
Yeah. Yeah.
You got older kids?
Yep.
Two older kids, right? What are their names? Classic, right?
That's our son here, but it's Rhythm is the 18, and then I got one, James, and I have 3 grandchildren as well.
You and Kid Frost have a kid named Rhythm, I think.
Yep.
I think Kid Frost's son is skating now. He's like 9.
Yeah.
The little one?
Yeah.
The little one.
He's
for
Chris.
sure. Yeah.
Wow.
We hang out, me and the kid. Yeah, for sure.
And King Coffee at
the drum circle.
Get those beats together.
But, it's rad to have, Jennifer now. She's even starting her own career. She's in real estate. And before it was so tough because she was always Christian Hosoi's wife, taking care of the kids. And it got tough to the point where she
stood with you like a soldier.
Yeah, but she was having a tough time because here comes, her dependencies that started creeping up, whether it was pills, and alcohol at times, because it was just too much. It was too much. And she went through her struggles, and then I got to stick by her side. And I think there was this, this almost like a change of roles. And I think that that's what makes us even more stronger as a, married couple, as a mother and father, as even pastors. She didn't even really think, she's like, I didn't sign up for this. I wanted you to change. I wanted you to read your Bible, but you want to become a pastor now? I'm like, I'm not trying to get all crazy, right?
Trying to raise the dead over here.
And I'm over here raising the dead, casting devils out of people, and she's like, this ain't for me.
Walking on water like you never walked in MacArthur Park.
And that's where I'm from, Echo Park. I grew up there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What's up?
Yeah. And so for me, it was just like a no-brainer. I come from the punk rock, skateboarding rebel. So I became a rebel for Christ, and it was just normal for me. You go 100, you know what I mean? You don't do anything half-stepping. And so, for her, it was kind of difficult, but now, she's just amazing. She's got, like I said, now she's starting to challenge me on making money. She's like, I'm gonna buy the first house. And I'm like, whoa, you're messing with my ego right now. You know what I mean? But her and her
what's our son's age again? What's today? Let's look it up on Proverbs.
Right? We're gonna check this out.
No.
God, I need a word.
I don't like that. Let's go to Psalms. Oh, here it is. This too shall wait. I don't know, man. When I would come out of rehab, my parents they used to hate me because they were Catholics, but I was coming from a Christian perspective now. And I was denouncing. I was Bible whipping everybody in my house, fool. I went back to rehab.
Yeah. It's a double-edged sword.
Yeah, because they want us to do it. And I forgot that you can't change people. To just change yourself and accept them so they come along. They were hating me, bro.
Yeah. It's not being critical, judgmental.
I was very critical, judgmental at first.
And that's how the church, a lot of the church has been, and I think that's been the turnoff. That's why people, kind of look at it and they're, oh, you're one of them. And I'm like, no, check me out for a while. And sure enough, as time goes on.
Because you're a good representative for that. some people are bad representatives. Like, bro, you know what? You're a loser.
Yeah, you're a sinner.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to hell.
Instead of
Like, is that gonna be sweet?
Like,
that's not
mom,
a sweet message.
That's everything my mom would say. You're masturbate, you're gonna go to hell. Oh man, no wonder my head's on fire.
But now she's, my wife, 3 years sobriety. I've got 16. I've got a company and I'm traveling.
16. Wow.
Yeah, 16 and a half years.
But the first 5 don't count because you were locked up. So actually it's 11.
You know what? People say that, but it was easy.
Oh, but you could have had drugs in there.
Oh, it's easy. No, it's easy.
You're Christian Hosoi. They would have hooked it up for the first one.
Well, whoever had soups, and chicharrones and Milky Ways could get it hooked up. I don't think it needed a name in there.
What's the best spread you had in there?
Oh man, every 2 weeks you'd get roast beef, right? And every day other than that was bologna for lunch. And so I worked at culinary and
culinary, bro. It wasn't a cook. It was a culinary school.
Yeah. It was
a chef.
So
cordon bleu.
We would sneak back the roast beef and we'd make a spread, in the trash bags, and we throw in the beef jerky, and then you throw in everything else: the coffee, the creamers, the mustard. Everything. You just throw it in there. Mayonnaise. If there was peanut butter, you throw peanut butter in there. And
protein
it
bars
was like it became
that don't sound good.
Thai. It became like Thai food or Indian food. You know what I mean? With the peanut butter
like
and the chicharrones. I'm telling you.
Filipino chocolate.
I'll make it for you sometime. What was yours?
Jolly Bean Special.
Yeah, me a vegan. Matter of fact, speaking of vegan, we just came from what was the restaurant's name? Crossroads before here, and my wife said you were vegan, so we went and checked it out, and I tell you, I'm not vegan, but it was good.
It was good.
It was good.
What did you have?
I had the chorizo.
Oh yeah,
scramble.
Chorizo, yeah,
and the chicken and waffles. And it was delicious. And is that where you go?
No, we haven't been there yet.
We haven't been there. Russell Simmons goes there. We go to Veggie Grill, that other place by the train tracks over here.
Well, my buddy, I don't know if you know Travis Barker.
Yes.
Yeah, he's
one of the night at Voodoo Glows. You know Voodoo Glows goes?
He's one of the owners at
that Crossroads.
Crossroads, and so we got to set up a dinner and go over there and
set it up.
Go terrorize
and find a lady. You could go with us.
Blind date, vegan date.
She was really blind. No.
But it was delicious. I have to say, I'm not, every time she says, let's go to vegan, I'm not like looking forward to it. But it was one of the more finer vegan foods I've had probably ever.
I know, man. When I tell people that my wife makes ceviche and it's vegan, they say, nah, bro, how you make it? Where you get the fish from? It's not fish, bro. It's raw. It's coconut meat. You chop it all up and you put a bunch of lemons and it starts to turn it gooey. And it does taste like ceviche, man. If you forgot what ceviche tastes like.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, anything with lemon tastes good, though.
Yeah, you can.
I remember, man, my mom used to make this horrible. Well, not horrible. It's still good, but now I think it's horrible. She used to boil chicken, right? And then that'll be with rice. That'll be her chicken soup. Just boiled, bro. Like, she didn't clean it out. Like, it'll be foam of chicken
for hours.
Yeah. So I remember I got one of those meats and I put lemon and tapatio and I said, man, this tastes like crab.
And that was it.
Went
vegan.
Went vegan. No, I wouldn't go vegan then, but I remember it tastes good. And I started making tostadas that tasted like ceviche, but it was all chicken, man. But then one day I thought about that's gross. So I stopped eating that. That was my spread.
And how long has it been?
4 years. 5 years now, man. And I lost 20 pounds since then. So fat.
You lost a lot at first.
A lot at first. So you have a book?
Yeah, I got a book. It's I wish I had it with me.
Just tell us, people download it or buy it.
Put the link up. It's called My Life as a Skateboarder, Junkie, Inmate, Pastor. and it's through Harper One, and you can get it on Amazon, any place like that. But we did a phenomenal job. You think about these things. You're going to do a book, and you're like, okay, I hope it's good. But this one,
Is it an Audible?
Stoked. It's I think it is.
Do you narrate it?
No, no. Like I want to do that, and I want to get it translated because everybody around the world wants to get it, but they're like, that costs money, and I'm like, well, I guess we need to raise some money.
Rodrigo could translate it to Armenian, bro. Give us some Armenian, bro.
Hey, bro.
But I also did a documentary called Rising Sun with QD3, Quincy Jones' son. Helped produce it with Cesario Montano. Block is the director, and then Dennis Hopper narrated it. Which
Hell yeah, dude.
Was phenomenal. The whole project came out like incredible for everything of my life, like all the way through to the very end. I was very pleased with how that came out, and for something that you do, anything you do, you want it to affect people's lives. And to this day, I still have people constantly emailing, text, DMing, whatever all those things are, telling me, how they've just watched it and it's affected their life. And so, I really feel that was a huge success. And so now what I'd really love to do is like a feature film. I'm really trying to figure out how to do my life rights for like a nice feature film based on the whole dark side of my life. Kind of like a,
who will play you? Mario Lopez.
Right? Mario Lopez.
Now he's busy.
Pretty sick.
Telling people they're at his feet.
I don't know how he
what
do.
to watch at every hotel.
I don't know how he do with the cool part though. Would he be able to act cool?
Nah,
yeah, he's cute. He can't be cool. I don't think can he have long hair, be cool? And,
remember he used to have it permed on Saved by the Bell.
Oh!
It was a mullet with a perm on top.
Yeah. No, but that's interesting. Stuff like that, those are the projects I'd be, really interested in doing, Besides comedy, that's my like new thing.
Have you been?
Yeah, you guys are laughing. It's already working.
You've been in movies though, right?
Not really. I've done like cameo in that Lords of Dogtown, but really haven't done anything. I never. You know what? All my friends were actors. I did this movie called Thrashin' back and that was a pretty big deal. But
that was a good movie. Was you going down the hill?
Yeah.
And then there's a guy breakdancing, and the lead actor goes, "Man, breakdancing is what do you say?
Memory.
It's a memory." Good. I saw
that's my only line in the movie right there.
Yeah.
And I look at him and I go, "Wimps."
Yeah. You were the breakdancer?
No, I was in real life back when, we were going to clubs like 82, 83. Breakdancing was huge. The Odyssey, 321 Santa Monica.
You go to a lot of punk gigs, like did you go to a lot of punk gigs too?
Oh, my dad
Fender's
threw one
Ballroom.
Went to all those places, the Stardust, all those places. I was so young and I was going to them. I'd be sitting there with I was sitting there with long hair and I'd be like, dang, look at all these crazy people. And it was just like super punk. Like everybody had spikes and razor blades and everybody's bleeding. I was like, this stuff's just crazy. I'm like, I want to go to the skate park. You know what I mean?
Back in the day, you could get jumped by bald head people just for having long hair. Oh, beat him up. He's got long hair.
Wouldn't they go at it like heavy metalers and punklers and shit?
My father threw a huge concert, punk gig at Marina with Fear, Circle Jerks, the Joneses, which was Steve Olson's band, all these bands back then. And even the cover of, I think it's, what was it called? I can't remember the cover of the band, but it's at the Marina Del Rey skate park. And I'm sitting there. There's fights. There's blood everywhere. Jay Adams has now got a mohawk and he's doing backflips everywhere. And I'm just going, I've got long hair, town and country shorts. I'm 12 years old.
Town and country.
I'm like, these people are nuts, right? But that was the moment when it all changed, when it started getting rad and gnarly, and like I cut my hair. Next thing you know, I'm listening to, hip hop, Herbie Hancock came out with all that, and then breakdance, Rocket. And I mean, we just got the linoleum, the cardboard out. We're going to the parks. Now we're thinking we're B-boys, you know what I mean? Hanging out at all the parks back in the day. And then we go to the clubs, in the circle, the whole deal. And then I did that movie right after. Yeah. And I was like, anti. Yeah. But I never really got into acting because my buddies who did it, they'd be like, 1 year they're fine because they just did a movie. Next year they're depressed because they haven't got a movie. I'm like, whoa, now they're homeless because they had money. They had a nice place. Now they're like living at their parents' house. They don't got I was like, that's not a secure job. I was like, you know what? Skateboarding's good. I get paid all the time, and so I never really thought, okay, this is like a career that I'd want to pursue because I had one. But now I look at it, I'm like, man, it looks kind of fun, So
you were like the generation of skaters after, huh? You guys were like, you came in and your style was different from the people before you, right?
Yeah. Things have evolved in
you were beyond pools, right? You were jumping. Yeah.
I mean, we went from these narrow boards to wide boards
to those boards, like
big fat wheels to started streamlining to where we got them down to a science where they became high performance. And we're doing, instead of the highest air being 4 feet, I'm going like 8-10 feet now. And that's in the mid 80s when it just really skyrocketed on like the tricks, the level of competition. And then when all the parks closed, the half pipe started popping up. And then you could put them anywhere. You didn't have to go to like a skate park for a contest anymore. You could take it, put it in the middle of a parking lot, and then you could have these massive crowds. Then they go into stadiums. Next thing you know, we're doing stadium events and like Anaheim Convention Center full of people, and we're just like, it felt like rock stars at that time.
Some big ass ramps back in the day, huh?
Yeah,
enormous.
Yeah, I mean,
was there money involved? Like, I don't know, involved. Cause I always say like, I can't skate, man. I should have made ramps.
There was guys that were making money making ramps because there was a lot to do, competitions and travel, but there was only a few people who could do it because they locked it down and they had it. But we were making a lot of money. I was making
maybe selling the wood,
$20,000 to $40,000 a month.
Wow.
Like for a kid, that's 18, 19.
How much did Dad steal from you? Not just kidding.
He was vice president of my corporation, and so we shared everything. And so everything I made went through, me and my mom. My mom was.
You got to keep something. Glad your dad was there.
Yeah, I mean, well, I wouldn't say we kept anything. I think our whole motto was we're gonna have fun and we're gonna rage and we're gonna party and we're gonna spend it all. And I ended up.
I wish I was there.
Yeah, I ended up buying Harleys, Mustang convertibles and just, W.C. Fields Estate right up there off of Echo Park in Sunset, built a full-on 32-foot wide ramp that was on the side of the mountain where you could see from Sunset Boulevard. And just, the McLaren, I mean, you name it, I was spending it, taking all my friends to Hawaii, sponsoring people, taking them all around the world, treating everybody every night to dinner, going to clubs 8 days a week, and I mean, it was pretty, pretty out there, adventurous.
You miss that life?
I don't miss that life in a sense of like knowing why I'm doing things. But did I have a good time? Oh, I had a great time because I, built relationships. I, succeeded in my career and accolades, the accomplishments, the breaking records, Guinness Book of World Records. I got inducted into the Skateboarding Hall of Fame, a few years ago. And, one of the biggest accomplishments that you could ever have in our sport. But I think the part of it that I'm enjoying is being an ambassador for the sport now today and kind of like still being a part of it. Vans is a huge contributor to the Roots, and they sponsor like me, Tony Alva,
Vans?
Yeah, guys like that. And they take us around the world, and we represent the history of the sport. And so now I'm having a ball traveling the world. I mean, Vans is on their 50th anniversary right now, and we're able to go out and just tell the world where it all started, why people are into Vans, and it's all because of skateboarding. And we started this. They're really giving us a lot of of the credit for why Vans is as popular and as successful as it is today, and I think that's a huge, affirmation for what we did for the sport. And so now I get to, enjoy without having the pressures of winning the contest to get paid.
Yes.
Now I get to go and just show up and just represent skateboarding.
That's good. You are an ambassador because you're known all over the world.
Hell yeah, dude.
Like Christian Hosoi is up there, like Pepsi of skateboarding. Even though you had your ups and downs, you're back. You're representing. And when I see like skateboarding all over the world, I always think about you, Tony Hawk, the people who are representing. Like I saw a documentary of a guy who went to Ethiopia. And over there's a bunch of kids with skateboards, and all their skateboards are given by people like yourself. There's not even a skate shop in Ethiopia, but their people are skating because people aren't starving anymore. But there's a new skater scene starting in Ethiopia, and it's because of you. These kids don't even they're watching the old tapes, bro. They're not watching the new tapes. They're watching YouTube. They don't have YouTube. They got old VHSs, bro. And the guys say, "No, man, these are the stuff they watch," and it's you. Now the old school guys. Maybe one day we should just do a show and donate a bunch of skateboards to all these kids in Ethiopia.
Yeah, me and you should team up and go out there and do that. And,
I'll build a ramp, bro.
Well, we could have somebody else do that, and I'll skate, and you tell Joe, do what you love to do. And I think, what, we can inspire a lot of people around the world, because I think, what you do is you give a lot of people hope that they can make it out of wherever situation they're in. And that's what I want to do. I want to give people hope that they can, come out of wherever they're at. Don't matter how far down that dark road they've gone, that they can make it back and turn it around and start to do good again. Because a lot of people just try and write people off once they've done some, crazy stuff like I did. And not saying you did anything crazy, but like, for me, they're like, yeah, he's too far gone. And then when your life changes, they're like, wait, you can make it back from that? And then they're like, I thought I'd never make it back. That's why I just kept going down this road. And so
when we saw you at Humphreys, he said, "That's Christian Hosoi." And I said to myself, I thought that fool was still locked up. He goes, "For real, I thought you were done. Like, I thought this guy was just locked up and that's it. But it's good to know you're doing well."
Yeah. And I'm just grateful, to be able to spend time with my children now, Endless and Classic. I mean, they're here with me hanging out. You see them, meet them, but just to be able to watch them grow up, even hanging out with my father. We haven't hung out since like the 90s, and now he's living with us for a few months. And it's just been one of those surreal times in my life. And even my wife, she's now just become a real estate agent. I mean, she's with a company called Case. They're like the rising company in the industry. And so she's, got a whole new lease on life. I mean, life is good right now. And I mean, look I'm here with Felipe Esparza, right? Is that
Esparza.
it? Esparza.
Tracy
I was going to say Ezra, but I was like, I don't want to say Ezra. But
Paul Rodriguez Jr. right here.
Yeah. This is like
that's one of the guys that look up
times,
to you, man. That's one of those kids that look up to you too, Paul Rodriguez Jr.
Yeah.
You met him?
Oh yeah, I know him really well.
It's funny, man, how life is. Like, my son knows who you are, and he knows who Paul Rodriguez Jr. is, and he wanted to meet them. And then growing up, I thought Paul Rodriguez was God. Like, I thought he was my version of Richard Pryor for Mexicans.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah. So, what is your background, by the way?
Japanese. My dad's pure Japanese. I'm Hawaiian, Chinese, Scotch, Irish, French, and Jewish. So my mom is her mom was Hawaiian Chinese, and they're all from Hawaii, and my grandfather
Basically,
was
you're
there,
Filipino.
right? Well, I was going to say Mexican because I look it.
He's from Oaxaca.
But
You do.
I'm a full mix, and when I went to prison, though, everybody thought I was like, they're like, "Hey, Holmes," they're like, and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not," and they're like, "What are you?" I'm like, They're like, "You're lying." No, you're not. And I'm
You're
like,
lying.
I swear,
kimono.
you don't speak Mexican. I'm like, no, I'm Japanese, Hawaiian. They're like, what? And then they point over to, whoever else to come
And
talk
they ask
to
me,
me.
what's that? Godzilla in the water? That's Hawaii.
But, yeah.
So you have your skating company
Yeah, I got a company called Hosoi Skateboards,
and you sponsor people.
and this is the 30th anniversry.
Dirty
of
Head,
it.
congratulations.
Yeah.
Hosoi Skates, wow.
Yeah.
I got one, bro.
I've got-
Legit.
I've got a cool team, of people.
That's the famous color right there.
Yeah, I mean, here you go. This is the newest
Yeah, man.
newest logo, obviously Rise Above, and my father did the graphics behind. The first ones was kind of like, it's a tribute to all my graphics.
Getting
John
goosebumps right here,
Lucero-
bro.
John Lucero did the new updated, kind of like the wings and everything, kind of Dogtown. It's got the cross in it, which represents who I am today, and I'm having a ball, man. I'm wanting to just grow the brand, be a competing brand with all the rest of them, like I was back in the day. And I've got all kinds of ideas. I'm doing art. My father's out here doing art. He's doing a lot of graphic design for companies, and we're having a blast. We're really having a
You
blast.
guys need a reality show.
well,
And your father could be the comedy.
I'm going to give it
the
first.
comedy right there, bro.
You'll be the first to hear about it, but we're
Well,
filmed.
Ken Young,
We have a sizzle reel done this week for a reality show.
Tight. Man.
Fuse TV, come on.
Man, you're prophetic.
Start bringing money. Bring money.
Do you have a production company or somebody interested?
Yeah, it's a full production company. They did all, 38 other
I can
things.
see it on
but-
MTV.
Oh, totally.
We're trying to just
Totally.
do it. It's I think we're going to use the name Christian's Family Values, as in
I like
Christian
it.
Hosoi's Family
I
Values.
like it.
And it's about all of them, and so it's going to be hilarious. Okay, I mean, yeah. See,
So
she
if
even
that was
admits
your
it. My
comedy
wife,
relief with no
my
t-shirt
wife
on.
admits it. She's crazy, and that's like mellow. Like, I mean, it's gonna be fun. My kids are, they're quiet right now because they have to be right now. I'm sure we told them they have to be quiet, but my father's on it. My other son, Rhythm, 18-year-old, he's going to be in it, and we're just going to do family stuff on, I guess a TV level. You know what I mean? I grew up in front of the camera my whole life, and to do like a reality show, I never thought I'd do like just a home reality. I thought it'd be some crazy reality show like Fear Factor or something like that, but here I am doing like one that's on family values, and it's like, it's almost perfect because that's what I want to watch if I'm watching TV. I don't want to watch something that's, all about this adventurous thing. I want to watch, what do you do when they turn off the cameras type of thing.
Yeah.
I want to know what you guys talk about. What do you tell your kids? How do you spank your kids? Do you spank your kids? What is your wife and you, how do you handle an argument? I think those are the things that MTV or those, whatever, I don't know the networks, but, all of them.
Bravo.
I mean, you look at, the famous reality shows. I mean, really, it's about nothing, people just hanging out.
Minus the reality.
Right? I mean, so I'm hoping it comes out funny, and I'll get your approval, I'm sure, when I see you, and you'll be like, dude,
More
it's not funny.
We need more drama.
There's no conflict here.
We need you stranded somewhere.
But I think that's where we got my wife. My wife is all conflict and drama, and
Blast off.
so I mean, really, they know that she is, and so they're hoping that she's going to stir up.
No, bro.
They're like, she's going to stir it up for you, Holmes. They used to call me Holmes, right?
Homie,
they're going to stir it up
don't
for
you
you,
know.
Holmes, and you're going to have to figure out how to deal with it on camera. And I'm like, dang. This is going to be fun.
Man, you would get like big ass fools like my size, of course. Damn, bro, I love you, man. I'm almost acting like that night, man.
I'm sure there's a lot of dudes get all starstruck around you. Huh?
How yeah, they want to lift you up and shit. I got guys that want to hug me, hold my hair. Hey, man, slap my wife now.
It is pretty cool to have people want your autograph, take pictures with you. You know, I've been doing it since I was like probably 12, 13 years old. And it never gets old, like on when somebody asks you. I think it's humbling. You know, I've always felt like that because my father, my mother, you know, taught me how to appreciate things and really not take things for granted. Always remember where you came from and to never burn any bridges. And for me, it was all about the fans. It was all about the people who supported you through, you know, your career. And I would, you know, I'd basically at contests, I'd give everything away all the way down to, you know, basically I'm not wearing anything but my underwear. And I'd be like driving away in my town car, you know, going, sweet, I'll see you next time, you know. And I remember just doing it,
destroy.
not thinking, you know, how much of a, you know, it meant for somebody else, but what it meant for me. And so today I like think about it and I go, wow, this is dope. You know what I mean?
When I was a kid, I thought none of these dudes did drugs. I thought they were all like, I always thought that, nah, man, they can't, like, these guys don't do drugs. How can you do that on drugs? So I never did drugs because I thought these guys didn't do drugs. And then I'm thinking, they all did drugs. I'm glad they didn't know that back then. I'm glad they didn't know TMZ back then.
Yeah.
I really thought everybody was sober. I thought everybody was focused. Then you come in and I said, oh, I guess, yeah, man. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Shit, the first time I smelled weed was around skateboarders.
And then you wonder why I ended up where I ended up, right? You know what?
I like skater chicks, eh?
Hell yeah, and surfer girls.
There is a
little flower.
Kind of like in that culture, surfing, skating. It's like quit school, drop out, and live this like almost like gypsy life where you don't work. And you know, back then there really wasn't a career as so much as it is today, where I created a career for myself. When I was like 15 years old, I was like, okay, I'm going to make money. This is going to be what I do. This is going to be my occupation. And if this is, you know, if I could do this for a living, I'll never work a day in my life because I just love doing it. You know, that's what was my whole intentions. But, you know, peer pressure comes on and now you're like, everybody's putting you on a pedestal and you're like, wait, I gotta fit the part, you know? I mean, rock stars gotta fit the part.
I need my convertible for a coat.
I don't know if it's like that in the comedian world.
Hell, it is. Man.
You got a lot of peer pressure there.
Every comedian wants that little blue check approved on Twitter.
Wow.
They wake up begging. I can't believe I got 800,000 followers and I'm not approved.
To think of the things that now you're looking forward to where back then there was none of that. There was
just want to get approved.
Yeah.
I see some comedian man begging, bro.
Hell yeah, dog.
To get somewhere, you need a Thomas guide. You know what I mean? There was no MapQuest.
Hell no, that used to be my old joke. I used to say, man, if you can't pick up with women who live too far. If I have to look you up on Thomas Guide, it's over. What? You're on page 45, 6B?
It's out of your jurisdiction.
What? I gotta buy another Thomas Guide to find out where you live? I gotta buy the Riverside County Thomas Guide?
Put them together.
Because they're all different ones. You got the Orange County, you got the Los Angeles ones.
Yeah.
You gotta get the correct spelling, by the way.
The street.
Paloma with one L. So what's up, fool? This week, I'll be at the Tempe Improv with Rodrigo Torres and Keith Manning. Get off the field.
Get off the field.
April 7th through 10. April 16th, I'll be in El Paso at the Abram Chavez Theater. Hopefully, there'll be more than 50 people. You know your story, how that goes. April 21st to 23rd, I'll be in Reno, Nevada. Reno Tahoe Comedy Club with Rodrigo Torres.
Yeah, man.
April 28th through May 1st, Houston, Texas, at the Houston Improv with Rodrigo Torres. I don't know. And Jim Pompalicious.
Pompa.
So, what's up, fool? Any questions
Chilling,
for our
bro.
guest, bro? Christian Hosoi?
And how crazy was it? Was like back in the day, like when Thrasher first started coming out, did you ever like face any racial shit? People talking.
You know, there was really none because skateboarding was such a almost like a minority, you know, sport at the time. So we were kind of like the rebels, and when you had like blacks, whites, Mexicans, Asians all hanging out together, it was like, whoa. This is like they're breaking down the barriers of racial tension. You know, that's why the gangsters that would get involved in Venice or something like that, they're like, yeah, I don't want to be in gangs. So they come over and then they'd be like, whoa, man, what's happened to you? You turned into a white boy. You know what I mean? But he's
For
over
reals.
here with a bunch of like, you know, Asians and
Trying to be white.
you know, and
Always.
and I think that we really broke down that barrier of it being cool to be a minority,
Man.
you know, across the board, whether it be music, you know, because it's hard to, you know, almost like influence people on a cultural level. Like subculture skateboarding became this thing that affected fashion, affected music, affected like lifestyle. Like we weren't having it. We're like, no, that's lame. Those are kooks. And we're cool. You know what I mean? We were very opinionated. And I think that that's where skateboarding stepped out and took that risk. You know, rock stars, they were like high as a kite. So they were like floating around with like scarves and stuff, you know, and wearing some crazy stuff. But there was some that were about the craft. And so that propelled them to be, you know, obviously the best at what they do. But they weren't sitting here trying to tell the world how, you know, what's cool or skateboarders, you know, were at the time. And so, you know, I don't think I thought I was the one trying to tell people, you know, what was up, you know, and it growing up in LA, especially, I think such a melting pot of different races that we thought it was lame to have any racial tension, you know, at that time. We were like, no, we're sticking up for each other. And that broke down a lot of walls on, you know, the racial tension in the streets where gangs, obviously I went to prison. I know how it is, you know, that segregation wall's hard. Politics are real. And so when I think about, you know, my time in prison, I'm thankful because I learned what that was really like. And I got to understand and how they had to get along and deal with each other and have to keep that line hard. There was no going over it because there's such a history of like the war against, you know, racial war. But out on the streets, we were like, no, we're free. We can do whatever we want, you know. And so there was really no pressure on me being a minority at all, I don't think.
Yeah, man. Having a skateboard, man, you're not a cholo back in the days. That was your safety net. No, bro, I don't gangbang. Look at my board. Do a trick. Oh, I can't do any tricks. I just steal boards.
Trying to walk to school.
What's up, Fool Podcast with our guest, Christian Hosoi up in here.
Hell
all
yeah,
the way
dog.
from Echo Park and Pico Union area.
The legendary
The
Christian.
legend.
When is this coming on?
This Friday, yeah, anything you want to promote?
Yeah, I'm going to be speaking at up in Diamond Bar on Sunday at Raul Reese's church. It's a Calvary, but it's called Shine, and I'll be there Sunday night. It's with the Whosoevers. I don't know if you know Sonny from POD, the band POD,
Yes.
but he's the one who started this whole Whosoevers movement, and it's kind of like reaching people who normally wouldn't go to church that are into, you know, whether it be motorcycles, tattoos, you know, punk rock music, and just, you know, hardcore lifestyle. Growing up, you know, gangbanging, whatever it is, but it reaches that
Bring your ex-lady,
demographic.
bro.
And so I'll be speaking Sunday night
I'll be
at
in Tempe,
Shine.
Doc.
I'll be posting it on my social
Okay.
medias.
Hell yeah.
You know, all my social medias.
What's your Instagram? Let people
It's
know.
Christian Hosoi, all of
Twitter?
it. Twitter,
Twitter as
Christian
well.
Hosoi.
The blue check?
I got my blue check.
Verified.
Did I have to pay for that?
It gives you randomly.
But, you know, to get mentions, I guess, right? You
Yeah.
have to have a blue check.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was kind of a trip, but I still haven't used it yet. I just got it. So I'm new at how to really use. Actually, I just got on Snapchat for the first time because my wife was like, "This is fun." I was like, "What's so fun about that?" I thought it was like this thing that kids did
That's what I
to
thought.
send
I thought it was for
nasty
kids.
pictures to each other and then they erase real quick, right? I just thought that that's what it was for, but that's what it was for. Now it's changed and everybody's like, you know.
You gotta keep up, bro. I'm on Periscope, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I'm even on the other one, Pinterest.
Pinterest.
Send me some vegan recipes. What's Some Food Podcast. Thank you very much, Jennifer Hosoi, for hooking it up. Thank you,
Hell yeah.
Christian Hosoi, for being a good guest, the best guest. Man, people are gonna
I
love
appreciate
this,
it.
man.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
for the
you.
board. Sign it, please, so I could sell it later. Now sign it for me, please. I want to put it up in my house.
For
Hell yeah,
sure.
man.
Rodrigo, man, you keep the hat, dog.
It's all gravy. Hey, man, thank you very much. Seriously, keep shining with what you're doing, man.
I appreciate that. Thanks
Beautiful,
for having me
man.
on the show.
Sunday,
wait,
people.
I need to come check y'all live now.
We're gonna be at April 20. We're having the 100th anniversary comedy show.
Ice
Me and
House.
Rodrigo will be hosting the show.
100th episode.
100th
100th
episode. 100th episode show
Oh, yeah.
at the Ice House in Pasadena.
All right. Local.
You'll also be
All right.
Brea Improv in August.
Also, Brea Improv in August. You'll see the full 1 hour show. Yeah, and
Yeah,
then
man.
Ice House, we're just both doing stand up comedy. We'll do a word.
Hosting it?
We'll,
Yeah,
we'll
dude.
do it right.
Yeah.
I'll set you up for jokes. You set me up for jokes. That's it.
I'd
Like
love-
doing radio.
You'll be hosting
Yeah.
with
I'd love to come check that
Yeah.
out.
And,
Date night, right?
Yeah,
Date night.
Date night. I saw there'll be fun. We have a lot of comedians that have been on the show.
Hell
Who's
yeah.
booked, you know?
So far,
Gene?
Joey Coco Diaz is a maybe.
Joey Coco did a maybe. That's right. I might be there. You never know.
Gotta go to Buffalo.
And then Scruncho's book,
Scruncho will be there. Oh,
Gene Pompa.
she needs to bring skates.
Gene Pompa.
Gene Pompa-licious.
And I'm waiting on
Okay, we're waiting on 2 more people.
Could I,
So Scruncho and Gene Pompa. Also, people, April 15, 5 days before the show. Rodrigo Torres will be over there with Chepo,
no, it pops in Gracie.
headlining show.
If you need any lessons,
Stage 2A.
Stage 2.
Yeah.
Let us know, bro.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
What's up, little man? You ready? Go back home? All right. What's up, Food Podcast? Thank you very much, everybody, for listening. Don't forget, you can buy Christian Hosoi's book through Amazon, through our webpage, and then we'll get a little star for you going through our webpage to buy Christian Hosoi's book. But all that information will be on. Buy the book, get a little message, and then go watch him speak this Sunday if you have a chance. And
Diamond
with
Bar.
Raul Reese.
Ryan Reese's son,
man.
too.
What's up, fool?